Good morning. It's 10 a.m. in Palm Springs and in New York. I think it's 10 a.m. in Palm Springs. We're going to check with Nilani Trent, art advisor. Nilani Trent talking to us today. Here we go. Oh, you even have it in Instagram. Nilani Trent, art advisor. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How's everything?
I'm good. I'm as well as can be expected.
Is it 10 a.m. with you now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. So, how's the situation over there?
Well, I'm in Florida, so I think I have the best possible circumstance considering I'm still able to ride my horses and the weather is quite nice here, as you can see. It's sunny and beautiful, and I'm happy to host you by my pool.
And I talked to Mark Lyncher yesterday or something, and he told me that Florida was very not so hard hit, and that it's like probably seems to be the best state dealing with the situation. Is that right?
I mean, that's what I hear. I don't know if the numbers are correct. I don't know if the hospital beds are full. It doesn't sound as though they are. But, you know, there are cars on the road. Shops are open. Restaurants are still open.
Oh, really?
In that they're allowing you to come pick up food and they are delivering food.
Oh, you can't go inside. You can't.
No, certainly not.
No. Okay.
But like I can go into Target and buy things. I can go into Walmart. Things like that are open.
Because his prediction was that Miami was going to be the first art fair really actively and like in December, coming December, that this might be the best, I don't know, or the first real event of this year in the art circus. So
it might be.
And you have your permanent resident there?
Yes, this is my main residence, and I also have a home in New York City.
But did you leave New York in this situation, or you are there anyway?
So I come down here every year in November, and then I usually stay until April or May. And I am now just going to stay here until things resolve themselves. I have no intention of returning to New York until it's safe. So yeah, I'll be here for a while.
And how does it impact your activity? Like, do you see, what do you recognize in the market? Do you get like crazy offers, or do you see amazing opportunities, or like what are you realizing and what are you predicting?
So there are kind of two things that I am noticing. I'm getting calls from galleries that are literally very upfront and saying, look, we are only solvent until the end of April, or we are only solvent until June 1st. We have these things available that your clients have expressed interest in the past. Can we do a deal? And those deals are getting done. And, quite honestly, I'm doing more volume right now than I ever have before, but they're much smaller sales. So, there are a lot of sales under $50,000. The higher priced pieces, I've either had two approaches, galleries that call and they've already really marked down those works. So my clients are very often surprised by how low the prices are and immediately want to purchase those works. But we then have an issue that we can't ship. So, it's kind of a holding pattern. We've had issues where we can't do condition reports because some of the works are in storage. So that's been an issue. I also have had, galleries offer very expensive works close to $1 million and say, oh yeah, we'll give you a 10% discount, to which I've said, well, I'm not even going to offer the work then. And then they'll say, okay, we'll give you a 15% discount. And I'm like, I'm still really not going to offer this work. And then I've gotten pushback like, well, such and such a gallery has never offered more than 15%. And I kind of think that those galleries are probably not going to survive this.
And do you have the feeling also that there are collectors kind of they are in the position to make acquisitions in the term of supporting an artist or a gallery? Because this, what you're talking about now, this is secondary market, no?
No, this
The
is all
million.
primary. Yeah, we're
Okay.
not buying secondary right now. My clients want to support living artists.
Okay. Okay. So, and do you think also? I mean, there are probably two situations. No, one is like trying to support if they are in the position to support. I mean, also a lot of entrepreneur collectors are also hit by the situation. I mean, if you have a lot of money in the stock market, you've been hit pretty hard, depending on where you invest. But you see also the expressed need to say like let's do something. Like Dennis Scholl told us about his initiative, how to support artists from Miami. You see also that clients say like, okay, no, don't mind the discount. It's about like, I don't know, supporting.
So the works that we're buying under 50,000, my clients really aren't asking for any discounts. It's the more expensive works where, you know, a client is maybe asked to spend $500,000 and then wire the money, you know, within 24 to 48 hours. Then we're asking for like very significant discounts. But yeah, the concept of really supporting those younger artists is that we also want to support the galleries too, and particularly the ones that are calling and saying like, hey, we aren't solvent past X, Y, and Z. I mean, I think it takes a lot of bravery and courage to put that out on the table. And the thing that's also really amazing about this moment is, you know, one of those galleries had just hosted a champagne and caviar party for 75 people, you know, in March for the Armory show. And now literally the call was, we aren't solvent past June 1st. So, you know, the business models are very, very off, and there are going to be a lot of changes because the models are screwed for the future. They have to redefine themselves, and I don't think that galleries are going to put themselves in this position again in the future.
It's interesting. That's what I hear also from our sales team, that clients of us reached out to us and heard if we are okay, and kind of like expressed the support and said like, you know, if there's some need, we can buy something, you know, which I found very touching, you know, and like the express of, I mean, we are pretty fine, but also we in Germany, you know, we are more, I mean, we pay high taxes, we pay social security, artist insurance security, and although it starts, I mean, our team was like, besides I think one or two people in the logistic teams, they were super busy and had more. I bumped up the commission. I tripled the commission on the sales team, because I think it's more on the effort to dare to keep on offering work, you know, because it's such a. But I think it's important to, you know, to just keep people informed and I mean, we're open today, first day. Gallery is open today.
I know. How's it going? Are people buying tickets and coming in?
Yeah, the tickets are free, but what's very nice is so far they have been really committed to the time slot. You know, so when they had a time slot at 11, they were there, and they take it very serious, because of course they were immediately sold out or like went out, and it's very nice. I get like messages from critics who say like, oh, in 10 days, I have my time slot in 10 days. And no, it's nice. I mean, it's a really unique experience. You can be alone at the gallery. I mean, I don't go there. You know, they're just there, and I leave them alone. And where were I? Oh, yes, I wanted to say. So, but the problem is they get 60%. I mean, it's better than being furloughed and fired. But we didn't. They were fully working the whole time. But with other, you know, like a friend of mine has a restaurant. He had to. All his employees are on 60%, and of course that's better than nothing. But it's tough, because that's not enough. If you don't have a giant salary, you can't survive long on 60%, on 100% usually. You know. So,
no.
And I really wonder, with all these funds being released into all the markets now, what a long-term influence it will have, you know.
Look, I'm a pessimist when it comes to this. I think that the art market will be fine in 10 years. It will take a 10-year recovery. But I think in the short term, you know, we're going to be really hurt for the next 2 to 3 years. And I think the artists and the people that work in the galleries, if they even have jobs, are going to be hurt the most. And, you know, there has to be a support system, and it has to start at the top with the gallery owners. And the gallery owners need to accept offers at any level to support the people that are working for them, that have been furloughed and that are working off of commissions. You know, I had a gallery pass on a $500,000 offer from one of my clients, cash in the bank, wire, within 48 hours. And the dealer said no. And I thought, okay, well, you're not going to get fired, but the person working under you might. And how are you going to feel knowing that you passed on that, and that your artist as well, you just pass on a $250,000 paycheck to your artist during a pandemic? That is bold. That is so bold. And I don't know how you sleep at night knowing that you might have to fire people in a month. Right now you might be okay, but I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, but you never know really what's the internal, you know, as an art dealer, usually we are intermediaries, and we are, you know, you can't look into that relationship also behind, between artist and dealer sometimes, you know.
I think right now it's about survival. And I think that, you know, people right now are okay. Like they have a roof over their head. They don't necessarily have to pay rent in New York City, but it's not going to last forever. People have to eat. And what if they get sick and they have to go to the hospital? You know, like, there are real issues out there.
I mean, how is the treatment in the US? Isn't the health system in this case covering the cost for the corona treatment?
They are, but there's still a recovery afterwards. Imagine you can't do sales afterwards. You've just come back from a hospital, or even if you don't have to go to the hospital, you're exhausted. You might be out for 20, 30 days without being able to work. You can't live off of a commission. There's no commission. You probably are having trouble, you know, having a phone conversation for 15 minutes.
Yeah, actually, we have an art advisor we do a lot of business with, and we called him, and he hardly could speak because he was still like recovering from his breathing issues. You know, it was really, I mean, that was the only real touch contact we had in so far with somebody really infected. So, thankfully, around us, it's not really. I mean, the death numbers in Germany are also significant now at 5,000 or so, I think. And tell me, why you think that it will take 10 years?
I think the last recovery from the 2008 financial crisis was really an 8-year recovery, if you look at it, and if you look at the auction results. And I think this is a far worse financial situation, economic struggle. And I think that we don't even know, we're not even halfway through this situation. So I think that it's going to be at least a 10-year recovery.
And can you see anything positive in this crisis?
You know, I think the positive thing is how creative people have been. I mean, look at what you're doing. You basically have a whole new career. I wouldn't be surprised if HBO offers you a talk show like Art with Johan. It would be amazing. I would definitely tune in every Sunday night. But, you know, the other thing is a lot of art dealers have followed your lead. I mean, I look at what Suzanne Bielmetter is doing with her garden talks, and Lucy Mitchell-Innes had a great conversation with A.A. Bronson.
Tell us more about it. So what's Suzanne doing?
So, you know, basically as an art advisor, when I bring a client into a gallery or into an art fair, we see the art dealer side of, you know, like Lucy or Suzanne, and they're so good at talking about the art on the wall and doing a sale. But when you get to see them interact with one of their artists, it's so different. I mean, you see this long-term relationship. I mean, it is really, truly a marriage. And you see all this history and this chemistry that you rarely see. And so I think having these conversations is really eye-opening, I think, for a lot of collectors. And I think it piques their interest in really looking into these artists more. And I think it also gives them more loyalty to the gallery and understanding why these art dealers have been around for as long as they have. And I think really makes them want to support, you know, the artist and the dealer in the long term. I think it's great.
And what's Suzanne doing exactly?
She's
Like,
standing in her garden, which is actually quite beautiful.
yeah,
And she is having dialogues with her artists in similar manners that you are.
on virtually or
Yeah,
in real?
on Instagram Live. Exactly
Ah,
like this.
nice. But the
Yeah.
background is a garden.
Yeah, it's her garden, which who knew she was such a great gardener?
Okay, interesting. So, oh, her private garden.
Yeah, at home.
Interesting. Hmm. And the other one you mentioned, what was the other one?
Is Lucy Mitchell Ennis.
Yes, of course.
And she does it, I think, from her house. And she's only done one that I've seen with A.A. Bronson. And it was, I mean, it was naughty at some parts, but that's Lucy. And it also was very funny. And then, you know, at a certain point, it was very serious, and I think we all sort of shed a tear. But she really nailed it. It was great.
And is this also view available still or only live?
I hope it is still available. I would imagine that they have posted it on their Instagram pages.
Oh, actually, by the way, the conversations we are holding here, I haven't really understood the logic. Lena Katerina, our online marketing manager, is doing it, but most of them are available on YouTube also. So you can
That's exciting.
see them later if you miss them. And so you said that there's a lot of creativity happening, exactly, and you see more chances. You see any like chances for the arts industry to rethink what we're doing? And Mark Glimcher, that's why I talked with him. He wrote this, I thought, very interesting open letter about. I can only recommend everybody to read it because it's kind of interesting. He's describing his infection with COVID and how he noticed it and so on, and also kind of comments on engineered results and mega galleries and so on, which is funny because he's one of the 3-4 mega galleries. And so you think even with all of us understanding and I don't know, mourning about it, and I mean, I'm so happy that this is the first week where I realized I would have been in 5 places in 1 week, and I'm happy I'm not, you know. But I wonder I mean, I don't think any of this will be over from one day to the other, so it will be a long process. But let's say 1 year from now, or even 2 years from now, you think there will be any change? Don't you think it will be all the same?
I mean, I think people will definitely, I hope that the concept of the wait list will be gone. I hope that gallery bravado, art dealer bravado will be gone. I think that there needs to be more appreciation for the art collectors that are, you know, tried and true and loyal to their galleries. I think that we've seen so much expansion and there is so much competition to get the young, hot artists into the galleries and even the mid-career artists. I really hope that these dealers, instead of expanding upwards and outwards with their spaces, and, you know, I hope that they will really just think about their models, their business models being about really developing collectors and collections, because at the end of the day, an artist is really only as good as the collections he or she is in. And I think a lot of art dealers forget about that, and they really only think about the size of their galleries and, you know, how much their artists are selling for. And I think there's a much bigger picture out there.
As an art advisor, as an art advisor, you usually paid commission on the brokered sale, right?
Yeah, I get paid a commission on price before discount, and my client pays me.
So how? I mean, then it's in the natural interest to sell expensive work, no?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I want to obviously make money, but I also want to build long-term relationships with my clients. I mean, they're my bread and butter. And, you know, I've worked for the same collectors for, you know, most of them for at least a decade. And I actually only take clients on referral. So I have really strong relationships with them. I charge on the price before discount. So that way my clients understand that I'm actively negotiating for as much discount as possible, because my commission doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And why it's very interesting that the US art market is very much lean on based on art advisors, which I find positive in the most case because they usually know what they're doing and also know where like certain borders are and what you can ask and what you can't and so on. But then I really wonder, it's so different. The US market is so different to the European ones. Why do you think that is the case? Why do you think is it more normal to seek consultancy and advice also in other business matters?
You know, I think that's a great, I think honestly, it's really the dealers. And I think that you as a dealer, you're probably a lot more engaged with your collectors. And I think, you know, American dealers are not. And so therefore, you know, advisors like me have to go in and sort of, you know, wiggle my way into the quote unquote wait list. I mean, I was talking to a collector that I don't work with. It's just a friend of mine the other day. And he's actually a really amazing collector from Ohio. And he's never had access to any of these quote unquote top galleries. And he said to me, you know, I bought 25 works in the past month. And he's like, I've paid immediately upon receiving my invoice. And all of a sudden, I'm now getting access and I'm getting attention from galleries that literally wouldn't even talk to me before. How sad is that? This is a really good human being, a really good collector who couldn't even get an email from some of these dealers in the United States.
But that's funny because why? I mean, maybe we're a bit different, but we are really welcoming. We are more run the gallery more like an institution, but we really want to talk to everybody. And I think even sometimes, even they don't know much, it's not bad because you can educate them on a good way. You know, you can, at least you can show them. So where do you think this American arrogance comes from? Which seems to you also agree on it exists, right?
Yeah, look who's running our country.
Sorry?
Look at who's running our country.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not only since this legislation, no? I mean, it was always this idea of exclusion and are you in the club, are you not in the club?
It's changed so much, honestly. I mean, since I started in this business over 15 years ago, it has really changed. And I don't know why, to be honest with you. I think there's a boys club that exists that you really have to, you can't just knock on the door, you have to pound it down. And it's just really difficult to break in. You know, I used to always say, this is the only world you could walk into a gallery with a suitcase with $1 million cash, and you might not walk out with a painting. And there are some galleries, even with.
Oh, I'm losing you. Now we're talking about $1 million in cash. Connection interrupts. Oh, there you are again.
Sorry.
So what did you say? You said.
I said
that you can't.
I said this is the only industry where, you know, you could walk into a gallery with $1 million in cash in a suitcase, and you might not walk out with a painting.
True. Yeah, it's, you know, I try to connect. There's a guy here. He does like 3D photography of art spaces. Now, usually he does luxury hotels and restaurants and so on for I don't know what. Now he has no business and wants to do art galleries and wants to do it complementary, I think, to get into the business. So we have 5 initiatives in Berlin, 5 different platform initiatives who want to get the art online. One is called Uncancelled or Not Cancelled. The other one is called Gallery Weekend. And then there is one, you know, all these different initiatives. And I wonder, like, I try to bring them all together, but everybody wants to be for themselves somehow and wants to be there. And of course I understand why, you know, because they think, okay, no, we are good and we are this, standing for this, and they stand for this. But I think in the end, all what we are doing, or someone asked, like, even this is a Matthias Weischer painting, someone asked who this, you know who Matthias Weischer is, I'm sure, you know. But
yeah,
most of the people, even people who think they know about art, don't know it. You know, all what we are doing is so underground, and to make then this if we want to self-marketing us at art dealers, that we make such strict distinguished differences with quality and who we want to be on one website and not, then we shouldn't be surprised that nobody's looking. You know, I think that we shouldn't be too excluding in the general idea, you know. That's why I want to talk with so many. I mean, some people say, like, how can you talk to this person? How can you talk to that person? I want to talk to everybody. I think I want to talk to everybody who's like somehow trying to contribute to the art world from top to amateur. I think it's all valuable, you know, and everybody tries to, I don't know, bring something to the table. But I'm a bit pessimistic that this will that any of these crises ever will change anything in the hierarchy systems. But
only
maybe
time will tell.
One last thing. Do you have is there a young dealer you think it's really worth paying attention? Gallery somewhere?
A young dealer.
Or like somebody who's doing it a bit different than
There are so many good. So listen, I think that it's not about youth, right? I think Robert's Projects in Los Angeles is the best dealer. It's the best gallery right now.
From Roberts and Tilton?
No, Roberts Projects. No. It's no longer
Roberts
Roberts
Project.
and Tilton.
Don't know that.
Yeah, Bennett Roberts. I think what he is doing, his entire approach right now, but I think more importantly, he has one of the best eyes in the industry. That's really, every client I have wants to buy from him. And it's not just one particular artist, it's his entire program. There is something for everybody. And, you know, I would say 5 years ago, all of my clients wanted to buy from Jack Shainman. So it's a similar feeling that I have. And, you know, you kind of go through this with different galleries at different times. Everyone sort of moved on from Jack, but now we've moved on to Robert's Projects. That's sort of where everybody is. That's where all of the amazing talent is going. That's where I personally want to buy for my own collection.
Did I spell it correctly? Robert's Project?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out.
And it's not just young artists there. I mean, there is Betty Saar, who's, in my opinion, and I'll do a post on Betty Saar. I'll probably do that tomorrow morning. But one of the most important artists. She's living. She's just had a show at MoMA. She's really such an amazing, amazing artist who is so, who has been so underrepresented in museums. But I think that has changed. And certainly collectors need to pay more attention to her. But Robert's Projects, I mean, they're just good human beings, period.
Okay, so we check out Robert's Projects and? What was her name?
Bennett Roberts is the owner of the gallery.
But isn't Bennett Roberts a former partner of Jack Tilton? Was it Roberts?
Yes, they were partners at one point.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah, he's been around.
He's
show Amarco Boafo, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great gallery. Yeah. They've been ahead of Trent many times.
Oh.
And such a nice couple, these two.
Yeah, Julie is amazing, and Bennett is amazing, and Camille and Mary. Everybody at the gallery is fabulous.
So big shout out to them. Thank you so much for taking the time, and hope to see you very soon. Nilani, stay safe, and
you too.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.